fact, if you put your mouth on both sides and you open your jaw, you'll feel that hole that happens right here. That hole, just put your finger right there. Don't press down on it. Just rub lightly. That's a marma point. So you can actually go online, find marma points. My favorite one is actually very romantic and spiritual. There are 5 of these points on our body. They're called the Tala Hridaya. Tala means the base, Hridaya means the heart. You're smiling, no? You know it from dance, right? So there's a place where the arteries become veins, right? They change. Artery comes all the way down to the edge and then becomes a vein. That place right here is kind of the hollow of our hand. That's called the Tala Hridaya. It's actually where people would put those crucifix, not needles, nails, yeah. So you got 4 of these, right? One here, and if you go to the underside of your foot, there's just a place where you're naturally going to feel that depression inside. Yeah. One here and then one on the other side. So that's 4. Where's the 5th one? The base of the heart, Tala Hridaya. Yeah, so you go to your heart, which is laying like right here, kind of tends to point down this way, and just somewhere right underneath here. It's easier to touch it in on a guy's chest than a woman's. Somewhere like underneath the kind of underwire on a bra. There's a space at the bottom of the heart where the venous blood becomes arterial blood. Okay? And that point is the base of the heart. So if we want to affect our heart, and we're feeling a lot of angst in our heart, we just rub this. Not too hard, but just rub it. And generally get some oil and just do a little massage. And when babies are born in traditional India, massage therapists will come, doulas, or women who are the birth attendants will come and do massages on the little baby's hand to make sure that it's, and it's always clockwise, to make sure that it's brought to life, that its heart comes into the earth plane. Because now it's coming back to life. And when people are hurting, when I feel like someone's dying or something's very, very tender, and my heart is just fluttering in the spiritual or emotional way, you can just press this. Of course, the X-rated version of this, which I have to share with you, is that in India, when a guy wants to kind of make a signal to a woman, he'll take her hand and he'll actually rub that point. Do you guys know that? You guys you're not single enough, okay? If you're single like me, guys will come up to me, they'll shake my hand and they'll attempt to rub that point, and I'll just back away. You had a question.
Oh, I was going to ask, why is it always have to be clockwise?
Because counterclockwise has a different effect. Counterclockwise is to pull out toxins that are spiritual or to imbalance the person purposefully. Yeah, if you're trying to draw something out of them. Yeah, and you don't need to do that unless you know what you're doing therapeutically, you don't need to do that. So generally when we teach it as a beginning level, we just teach people to get used to that spot and used to the pressure and the idea of doing it, because learning to perceive. All of you just used your organ of touch on your own bodies. What did you feel? Right? What did you feel as you were doing it, so the motor action, and what did you feel when you were on the sense side of it? Were you so busy listening to me that you didn't pay attention to how rough or soft or warm or cold or heavy or light or smooth your hands are when you did this? How many of you really felt the loveliness of what it is to touch the skin on your hand? The fact that, don't you thank God that you have good skin? There are people who don't have skin. They've had burn injuries, they don't have skin. Or they have diseases where when you touch their hand, it hurts so much they can't be touched. All of you just automatically touched and didn't think about what God's grace it is that we have this kind of skin on our hands. You had a question? Someone? Hands up? No. Okay. So let's keep going. So I talk about tonics of Rasayana. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 tonics that are very easy. And if you want to take these down, there's some room on the back of one of your papers. One Rasayana that's very easy is hot water. I've already talked about that a little bit. You want to boil water on a stove, not microwave it, but boil it, allowing the air to break up the molecules between the water and giving akash, or space, to happen between the molecules. What happens when you allow akash to come between the water molecules? You leave space for other things to come in. So all that mind stuff, all that mind grit, all those emotions that need to be cleared out, they're in your being. When you drink that water, and the water has that akash between it, it can go and grab those little residual particles and take them down and out. The physical water is very scraping. You guys know that water is very hard. That's how the Grand Canyon got made, because water actually came in and carved out the rocks. Water is very hard on our system and can take the mucus and stuff that accumulates at night. So first thing in the morning, to have a glass of boiled water is very good. If you can drink it warm, a little hint for you, those of you who love your coffee and love your tea, I'm never going to tell you don't have coffee. As a former coffee addict, I spent, let's see, 6 years PhD, 4 years MD, 3 master's degrees, bachelor's degree, residency, nutrition school, Ayurveda school. I drank a lot of coffee, and I love the smell of coffee, but it's not good for me. And the way that I got out of it is in the morning, before I had my cup of coffee, and I drink like 3 or 4 cups a day back then, I just have 1 mug full of hot boiled water, as warm as a cup of coffee would be when I drink it. Once I did that, I found that my thirst and desire and craving for coffee started going down. Still would have 1 more cup of coffee, but that would be around 10 or 11, and then I would be fine. And eventually, by the end of residency, I didn't even want coffee, and I don't drink coffee now. I can smell it. I can say, yeah, that's nice. It smells good. I just smelled your coffee before. I was like, oh, it's too strong, right? I just smelled it, but I don't crave it anymore. And for people who are having 7, 8 cups of coffee a day because the coffee machine is right there, it's a really great thing. I've had hundreds of patients who just drink this hot water, and it reforms them. I'm not trying to tell everyone that coffee's bad for them. I'm just saying that for some of you, it's better to get off it. This is a way to do it. The other part of it is that when you brush your teeth in the morning and all that mucus and stuff, you know, you wash out, the mucus doesn't stop right here. The mucus goes all the way down. But we can't get our, toothbrush down there and brush down there. So if you can brush your teeth, rinse out your mouth, and then have a mug of hot water, all that stuff, that crud, especially for those of you who smoke or tend to have a lot of mucus production or take medications where you get a lot of kind of side effects of that, that hot water will wash that down, and it's a tonic. It's a very simple tonic. Cleaning out that stuff, sends it down into that acid that's been sitting there all night, that digests all that stuff. It's called ama, or residue. Ama is a word for toxin or residue, and it just gets rid of it. So that's one tonic. The second tonic is to take cumin seeds, which we call jire. Jire is possibly the word that you'll see in the Indian grocery store where you go to buy it. I would recommend you buy it from an Indian grocery store because they have high turnovers of it. You can buy it in Whole Foods, but you'll spend about, we call it Whole Foods whole paycheck. You'll spend a lot more for it for a little teeny container. It's been sitting on a shelf for a long time. And I'm not, I know people in Connecticut have a lot of money, but I'm more concerned about the turnover of the spices. Those spices sit on the shelves for a lot longer. Sorry. What did it again? Sorry about that. They sit on the shelf for a lot longer. So it's just better turnover to go into the Indian stores. So you take the cumin, you put it at the bottom of a glass pitcher or glass jar. I like those Voss water jars. And you pour in some hot water over it. And that makes what's called cumin water or Jita water. And you can sip that. And that's a really nice tonic for people who are a little bit irregular or feeling some indigestion on a regular basis. A lot of people who have that kind of unsettled gut. It's really good for residents and doctors that work long hours. It's really great when you are traveling, like you're going to, those days when you wake up at 4 in the morning to get to the airport by 6, to fly out by 7 or 8, and then you're on a flight all day, and now you have to pay for your water on the flight, and they're in those, those plastic containers, which, by the way, bottled water has more, and has been tested many times, has more toxins in it than just regular tap water. You guys know that, right? If you go see a... If you go see a video